Hi everybody. Alright, it's chocolate pie time. I have got y'all over here by the stove. I hope we can see everything and stuff, but I wanted to kind of get everything lined up so I could save some time on it and stuff. My rolls are still rising, so we're going to work on this chocolate pie filling. I have the pie shell baked, and I'll show all that to you here in a minute and everything, but let's get this filling going, and we'll work on the other stuff in just a little bit. But for this chocolate pie, I already have it in my pot. I have in here, let me look on this thing. I want to make sure and tell y'all right, because I don't measure normally. I just want to make sure and give y'all the, okay, it has 2.5 cups of milk are in this pot. And then I've got here, I have 3 eggs separated, because here's my eggs, and I got my egg whites over there for the meringue here in a little bit. And 1.5 cups of sugar right here, and I have 1/3 cup of flour and a big 1/2 cup of cocoa. Okay, and then I will add a I don't know, a pinch of salt. A pinch of salt, a little splash of vanilla, and a little daub of butter in the end. But right now we're going to get this started. I'm going to go ahead. Tell you what I'm going to do. See, I'm going to add my sugar in here, but I want to do this to this cocoa. It kind of helps it break down. I'm going to add some of this. Can you see what I'm doing here? Let me see. I'm going to put some of that sugar in with this cocoa, and I'm going to try to stir it a little bit and break some of them clumps down. And then I'm going to show you what else I'm going to do here in just a second. But let me stir on this a little bit and get it all kind of stirred together here. Just to try to help it some, because that cocoa is so hard to dissolve. And like if you put it in your pot right now, it just gets in them big old clumps and stuff, and you just can't do anything with it. So what I'm fixing to do, now that I've kind of got my sugar, and it's just a little bit, you just dump a little bit of it in there, and you dump the rest of it on in your milk. But I'm going to take this, and I'm fixing to put me some milk in here. I've always done it like this, and I just like doing this. If I stir it up in here, then I can add it to my pot, and it mixes a whole lot better. You get it going here. And I've got my fire on low under my milk right now. Woo. Let's see if I can add me some more here. I'm going to try to get it stirred down a little bit. There we go. Now it's starting to mix. This will help me when I get ready to stir it in that milk. There we go. See how it's stirring up like that? Now I can get them clumps out of there. There we go. Alright, now I'm fixing to just dump this off in there. Got me a little spoon here I'm going to work with. Make sure you get every bit of that goodie. I want it chocolate as I can get. I like it almost kind of dark chocolatey. Remember how your granny's pies used to taste like that? It wasn't like no milk chocolate taste. It had this dark chocolate taste to it. To me, they did anyway. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start stirring this up in here and getting it mixed together. Got my milk and my cocoa and my sugar in there. I'm going to go ahead now and add this flour. Do it a little bit at a time so I can keep it from clumping up on me. Can you see I'm stirring there? Alright. Get it all in there. There we go. Alright. Here's my spoon. I'm going to take my spoon and go along in the edge here, because a lot of times your whisk can't get to the corner edge of that thing, and it'll have some of it kind of watered up in there around the bottom of it. Alright, I got that done like that. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put me a pinch of salt. Is that a pinch? Here we go. I'm going to save my butter and my vanilla for the last. You do that afterwards. But so now what I'm going to do, look at that mess I made on the stove. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to stand here and you got to watch this. I don't have this in a double boiler. But now if you got a double boiler, them things are awesome. You ain't got to worry about scorching it or nothing or anything, but I don't know. I just never, I'm always into moving on with it. So we're going to get this going. This old pot right here is an awesome pot. It's my favorite pudding pot. And I like to do my rice in it and my pudding in it. And again, it's one of those pieces that I got from another very special lady in my life. She was a very special person. And she gave me this pot. And I am just so thankful to have it in it, and it's very special to me. And not only is it special, but it's an awesome pot. So it does beautifully for doing these puddings and stuff. I'm gonna get this going here, and then I'm gonna show you in a minute what I do with these eggs. See, you could put your eggs in there now. You could have put them in there in the beginning and stirred it all up and everything, but if you don't temper your eggs first, they call it tempering. Like what I'm going to do, when this starts getting thick, I'm going to dip me a little of it out, and I'm going to pour it in with these eggs in this cup, and I'm going to whip it up in there, that pudding, in this with these eggs, and then I'm going to stir it back in there like that. And when you do, I wanted to beat my eggs. I should have beaten them. Let me get a fork. When you do, then your pudding is so much more creamier. You know, if you put your eggs in there in the beginning, it kind of makes this little grainy look to your pudding, almost. I mean, you can keep beating on it and stirring it and stuff and trying to get it to, you know, but either way, it, I mean, it works. But in general, you'll hear people talk about tempering their eggs like that, and that's what they're talking about. So I've got them beat up and ready, and we want this to come on, and once it starts getting hot and reaching that boiling stage, it will start getting thick quick. Let me see if I see. Look in that spoon, and let me see if I can get it up closer. See in that spoon how it's in the edge of that pot? So that's telling me that it's getting thick already. That it's getting hot in there, because it gets thick on them edges. And you want to be sure and get that out of there, because that'll stick on you on them edges. So just keep whisking it. So now it's getting thicker for me. Alright, now it's getting ready to start bubbling. So I'm going to turn it down real low. Hold on a second here. My little fire is very touchy. Alright, I'm going to get me some of that hot pudding. I'm just going to dip me some of it out, just like this. And watch, I'm just going to pour it in there. And stir that pudding in with these eggs. See, I'm just stirring it in there. So that gets these eggs to a different temperature. I've got them all stirred up in there now, see? And now I'm fixing to keep stirring it like that, and I'm going to pour them in there. Just stir it and pour, stir it and pour. I'm going to get my spoon, get the rest of it out of there. My 3 egg yolks. Get the rest of that little pudding I had on that cup there. We're going to stir this around. It's getting thick already. we got chocolate pie coming on, y'all. And this recipe is one I've used for years. And it's from one of my favorite church cookbooks. And from a lady that was from here for, I think she was born and raised here, but I know she lived here for years. Any of my lifetime, I know she did. And this is her recipe out of one of the church cookbooks here that I have always used it, and it's never failed me. Can you see how it's doing? See, it's getting thick like that. Let it cook long enough. Make sure them eggs are cooked through in there. It's nice and creamy. Now I'm going to just turn that fire off. I'm going to just get me, I just got a thing of butter here. I'm just going to get me a little, I don't know, what do you call that? Uh-oh, where's it at in that light? Watch here. See that? I call it a blob. I don't know. I guess it's a tablespoon. We'll call it a tablespoon. And the vanilla, I just use the cap. It's not a full cap of it. But anyway, I'd say a teaspoon of vanilla, okay? We'll call it a teaspoon. You put that in after you've turned your fire off. So my butter and my vanilla's in there. So now I'm fixing to stir them in. And we have pie filling. That's all there is to it. Homemade chocolate pie. And it surpasses any taste of the cook and serve, and certainly the instant. You put this stuff up over here, and I'm going to get my pie crust. And I'm going to tell you all about that pie crust a little bit as soon as I get this poured up. But let me wipe my mess off on this because I'm going to set my pie plate here. And see, look, I poked holes all in the bottom of it. I wanted to make sure it didn't puff up in the middle. And I baked that at 400 for 20 minutes. So now, I'm hoping y'all can see when I do this. I want to just take my pudding pot and I'm fixing to just pour it in there. Just like that. Look at that. You think you wouldn't want to lick the pot to that when you was a kid? Lick the spoon? Woo! I'd be standing there waiting on my mama to let me lick the pot, the spoon, the beaters, whatever, to anything like that. Now, there we go. It smells like that. It's supposed to. Alright, I'm going to set this pot out of the way. Now, let me make sure it ain't hot. Look at there. And see, pretty much anybody in my house don't like meringue. So, I generally get out of having to even make it. But, we're going to make meringue just because. And we can do like we did when I was a kid and just flip it off of there if you don't want it. But it's just not the full meal deal on it if it don't have the meringue and baked in the oven, right? So my oven's still going on 400 from when I baked the crust. And I'm going to go over here. I'm going to show y'all what I've got here. Now my eggs are at room temperature, okay? And I got my mixing bowl and stuff, and I'm just going, that's my 3 egg whites that when I separated my eggs out for the pie. Okay, let me see. I may be able to show you this. Let me see. We're down in there. Yeah, okay. Now, I'm just going to take my mixer, and we're going to just let it start whipping. We want them to get up good and frothy like, and we'll check and see if it's got some peaks coming off of them. You hear people talk about the peaks on it. And we'll get that done, and then we'll start adding our sugar to it. And then we're going to top our pie with it, pop it in the oven, brown that top, and we're done. We have a homemade chocolate meringue pie with homemade crust. But now I'm going to tell y'all, I have no problem. Again, I have no problem with a bought crust like the Pillsbury ones. I like them, but, you know, people that know homemade crust know what this is. And again, I ask you, do you know how to make it? Well, now you do. Keep this, and you'll learn to make one. This recipe was great, by the way, Sandra. Thank you for it. And I'm going to get 3 pie crust out of it. So I've got this one baked, and when I get ready to make the buttermilk pie, I'll roll another one out. And that's what, being a chess pie, I'll pour the mixture into that and bake the crust and all together. But with your meringue pie like this, the crust is already baked, right? So, all right, here we go. Look at it. Let's see where we're at. See what it does when I pick it up. I want to get me a... I'll just get me a spoon. Depends how I want a metal one. See, that looks pretty stiff to me. I'm going to put it in there. Let it go for just a little bit more here. And I have 3 egg whites in there and 3 tablespoons of sugar. So now that it's beaten like that, let's see if I can do this. I'm going to do it like this, and I'm going to add a little bit of sugar. And I'm going to let it beat. A little bit at a time. Starting to get kind of shiny looking. You start putting that sugar in there, it makes it shine like. Alright, put the last of my sugar in there. Let's check it. See if I can show you how well, I'll show you when I get it out of there. I believe it's ready. We're going to call it ready. Alright, let me set this down here, and I'm going to set the phone back in this little gadget where I can get my hands free. Alright now, see it in there? Look at that. It's all stirred up, and you just want it to make them peaks when you touch it and you pull up on it. So I'm just going to come over here and just take it, and I'm just going to put me some blobs of it here and there around it. Go around the edge, because you can bring it to the middle if you need to. Now, your pudding's still hot and everything. That don't hurt nothing. It starts setting up pretty quick because it's already thick in the pot when you pour it in there. You know, it's already pudding-y, right? But when it cools down and everything, then it'll be sliceable. It won't just be just like pudding. Alright, I think I've got all I can get out of there. Let's put it on there like this. Now we're going to come around here. Let me see. All right. Let me see if I can get you closer. Okay. Try to show you what I'm doing here. I'm just going to bring it out to the edge. You're supposed to bring it to the edge and kind of seal that edge with it. Seal that edge off because it kind of shrinks like or whatever when it's... And we'll keep doing that. Bringing it to the edge. Bringing it to the edge there. Kind of seal it off. I guess I was showing you the floor or something just then. I don't know. Alright. Alright, we're going to go along here and just... Whoops. Do that again. We'll just tap it. Make little peaks on it. Okay, we're fixing to put that booger in the oven and get it browned on those meringues. And it sure don't take but a minute. You better watch it. You better watch it close. In we go. I have chocolate pudding speckles all over the stove now. But I hope